Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn
Right now.
and guest host Mike Zaglin, because he's the baseball expert here. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about World Series.
Let's do it.
Okay, first of all, we're bringing on. Okay, first of all,
Red Sox first time since 1918 to walk away as World Series champion, closing it out at home. Woo!
That's it, baby.
Yeah, the ghost of Babe Ruth.
Gone. 80, what's that, 95 years? Pretty good. Okay, so question for you. Well, not question, but a couple of comments. First of all, I really appreciated in Game 1 that the umpires got together
Oh, yeah.
and made the right call. And it's amazing because the one guy who was closest to it made the wrong call. I mean, aren't you impressed by that, especially in the World Series?
I think usually on one of those 4-6-3 double plays, it's almost like a like a phantom tag of the base as you relay that to first base. But in this case, I think the guy was just such a bang automatic play. I think he was just all prepared to say he was out,
Yeah.
and then the ball comes out, and he just instinctively, But I'm just glad that they huddled up. I mean that was a critical call. But talking about critical calls, I've never seen a World Series like this. I mean, the pick off to end one game. The obstruction call in another game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I guess with the terrible calls that were made during the season that ended up in instant replay coming, there's always more pressure in the World Series to get it right, and there's less interest on the part of an umpire to say, no, I made the call, I'm sticking with it.
Exactly.
And you see in the regular season, there are more eyeballs out there, and there's going to be a lot more criticism with so many writers and reporters and fans and watching this that they want to get it right.
It's fun watching the Red Sox fan, the Red Sox nation. My brother-in-law is one of those because they've been burned so many times until 04 and 07. When they walked away with it. I mean they're all like, even if they got a lead, it's like, oh, there's still time for them to blow it. I mean it's just that pessimistic. It ain't over until it's over to channel Yogi Berra.
It was like watching the Raiders has been kind of like that too. You're just wondering how are they going to lose it.
Yeah. But it's been fun to watch. I mean, on the TV side, we did a feature on the 3 homegrown Bay Area guys in the World Series: Danny Nava, Daniel Descalzo, and Johnny Gomes.
Okay, Gomes comes from Petaluma.
Yep.
What about the other two guys?
Descalzo and Nava both played at St. Francis High School in Mountain View.
Oh, Mountain View.
Yeah,
Very
both Lancers, and we went down and had fun with the guy that coached them both. They're a few years apart, and he was all excited because he was going to St. Louis to watch Game 3, and he's in a no-lose situation, having one guy out as a Red Sox and one guy as a Cardinal. But how proud is they? How proud is they, huh?
Awesome. Well, okay, so talking about Game 3 with the obstruction, right? Now, we've all kind of learned about the fact that the umpires, quote, got it right because there really was obstruction.
Yes.
But I got a question, though. When you look at that play, Craig, how much in the infield was he? Was he basically out of the baseline by coming into the infield so much so as to get obstructed? You know what I mean?
Correct. The runner?
Yeah.
Correct. Well, he slid into third,
Okay.
and then the ball got away, and then he got up and he tripped over Millwood.
Yeah, but when you look at where he got
Middlebrooks, I'm sorry, Middlebrooks.
Yeah, when you look at where he got tripped, though, he's like way in the inside towards the pitcher's
No,
mound.
really? I didn't think so. No, I think he was. Middlebrooks was lying down.
Yep.
His feet were up. He couldn't have been. I mean, Craig had to have been maybe, I don't know, a foot off the bag. I don't remember him being, wow, that's so.
Yeah, you have to look at
What do you have against the Cardinals, Edward?
I don't like the Cardinals.
Oh, is that right?
How much did you bet on the Red Sox?
No, us, we don't bet around here. No, I didn't bet on it, but.
Are you saying had you made the call, the no obstruction would have been called?
No, you know what? I probably still would have called obstruction. Yeah, I'm just trying to make good radio.
Oh, okay, all right.
Different points because you kind of wonder why his. I mean, I definitely don't think Middlebrooks purposely tried to trip him.
Well, and 10 wouldn't matter anyway.
Correct, but it makes you feel a little bit better when you realize that he didn't.
Let's do shock radio. Why do you hate the Cardinals? What happened?
You know what? It all comes down. It all comes back to Okendo and Will Clark. back
Yeah, I'm
in
with you.
1987.
I got a long memory too.
Yeah,
That's
it's just,
right.
there's something about them. They
Okay,
just,
all right.
just kill them.
Okay, so who did Akendo hit that home run off?
Oh my gosh,
The
Ali
seventh game
Hammaker.
winner.
Is that right?
Should not even be
Holy
allowed.
smokes, that was a
Should be
good
allowed
guess.
to count.
Well, that was a good guess. I figured he gave up the first Grand Slam in All-Star history, so
Is he the one giant whose name is Mud? Even today.
probably.
Huh?
Well, he's at the top of the mud list.
Yeah.
There might
Yeah.
be others, but
Exactly. Okay. I don't know if you guys
Jack
realize.
Clark.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah. Do you guys realize about how Major League Baseball really messed things up for the World Series with their scheduling? And it's going to cost them a lot because they play Game 1 on Wednesday instead of making it the day before on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And theoretically, if you go 7 days, it's going to end on Halloween.
Right.
I mean, you look at all the days that they did, and they're competing with football. Who thought of that?
You know what? I'll be brutally honest with you. They don't care about kids watching.
Well,
It's all about 18 to 49. It's all about that demographic right there.
Deep pockets.
I'm thinking about
Exactly.
more to go head-to-head against football, though.
Well, there must have been scheduling issues that we're not fully aware of.
What's the Thursday night Halloween game?
Well, you'd have football. You'd have Thursday night football.
I know, but what game would that be? I mean, if it's
It almost doesn't matter. You know, it's amazing how football is so popular. They could be the lousiest teams, and just people love their football. They just got to have their football.
how about St. Louis? They go 0 for 2 on a Monday night. The Rams lose and the Cardinals lose within minutes of each other.
Why did they just? I don't know. They quarterback. Who's the quarterback for the Rams?
The backup,
Backups because Bradford got hurt.
blanket. But here's the thing:
Roman Gabriel.
they ran, but they ran the ball
That's what I'm thinking.
all game long. You get down to the 1, and then you're going to throw it on a short field.
You got to
Why?
you got to do a rollout. That way, at least you have the option either way. I just don't. I don't understand these guys.
Makes perfect sense to me, Edward.
Thank
They,
you.
they let the clock run all the way down. They called timeout. 4 seconds left. I mean, just run it in.
I'm
We got
surprised they
some
didn't
coaches right here.
Yeah, really. I'm surprised they just didn't kick a field goal and lose by 2 points anyway.
Oh yeah, that would go over well.
Yeah, I'm
Cover the
sure.
spread.
I'm sure. Okay, let's see. Finish off a little bit of before we get to the break here. Clayton Kershaw's almost deal. He nearly negotiated a contract extension that would have been the highest paid player in the game, supposedly worth around $300 million. Of course, I would have done it. I would have played for $200 million. And it would have essentially have been a lifetime contract, but he apparently nixed the deal, citing uncertainty about committing to such a long-term deal.
Wow, really? Jeez, man.
I mean,
I'm pretty certain.
yeah, I mean, first of all, the Dodgers are a good team. They have a lot of talent. What is he thinking? Is it just?
I don't think it's so much him. I think it's his agent that maybe is involved. That says, hey, look a minute, what in 2 or 3 years, what's the market going to look like? I mean, it's all about making the most money you can possibly get. That's why Lincecum wouldn't go long term. He got 2. He wanted 2 years, and that was it.
He's lucky.
With the no clay, yeah.
Well, especially with a pitcher's potential for arm injuries,
Mhm.
passing up $300 million, sure thing.
I know
I don't know
that's
if you
just
guys remember
ridiculous.
Juan Gonzalez when he signed when he came to Detroit in a trade and he held off on signing a 10-year deal with them, I think, at the peak of his
They
career.
got hurt, didn't
And he had a terrible year and was hurt and never signed another
they?
contract.
I know.
again.
See, these guys are just.
Who is going to be
$140 million.
Who is going to be the first $300 million man?
It's going to be someone like Kershaw, probably.
Kershaw and not Trout?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
That's probably
Okay. Hey guys, we're gonna cut.
That's a great suggestion.
Okay, we're gonna cut to our first commercial break. Again, the theme is the World Series. Here's the first trivia question.
All right, here we go.
Who was that? Okay, to me, I think this is the hardest question. The next two are a little easier. Who was the first pitcher to appear in all 7 games in a World Series? Okay, now it sounds like
Wow.
you guys are a little stuck. So I'm going to give you the hint. The year was 1973. The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouseforfun.com. Do you have the answer? Wow. Okay. Call 888-660-4495
Way
to
to go,
answer
Mike.
this question. Yeah. Who was the first pitcher to appear in all 7 games in a World Series? And again, the hint is it happened in 1973. 888-660-4495. Make sure to include your name and your email address. Spell it slowly for us. Don't touch that Don't touch that radio because Sports Econ 101 will be right back. I'm fumbling over my words there.
He had a handlebar mustache.
It was not Ronnie Fingers.
Was not.
Oh shoot! I should have let you answer that on the air.
Is
Paul
that-
Lindblad,
is-
Daryl Knowles was the
Paul
other,
Lindblad.
was the other staff.
You have to answer it correctly on the air though, because I gave you it. Right. Okay.
Oakland
It's
A,
embarrassing.
1973.
Because I went to all those games.
Oakland A, a reliever.
I blew my sophomore year of high school off. Just really.
Oakland A, 1970. Household name, Edward?
No.
Not a household name.
Well,
Which none of those guys were except for Raleigh.
Sean Odom was a starter. Couldn't have been him. Knowles, Peters. Wow, that is embarrassing. I should just leave the show.
Well, I don't think it's that embarrassing.
I should leave the
This
show.
is really bad.
Oof.
Went
This
to those
one's hard.
games.
This one's harder. I said the other ones will be a
So
little
it was the
easier.
Mets.
Well, I can understand feeling bad if you actually were there for all those games.
Really?
But I mean, but you're
This is
you're
really
asking
bad.
yourself to you're
Wow.
asking yourself to really think back. What, 40 years? Jeez.
That was the World Series where Willie Mays was stumbling around in the outfield.
Yeah. Sad.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, no, it's a little weird the way they have that. There you go. Right? Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn. And he's upset because he didn't know the answer. And our guest host, Mike Zaglin. Okay, first trivia question. Who was the first pitcher to appear in all 7 games in the World Series? And the hint was it happened in 1973.
Give them to him, Z.
Okay, you gotta tell us the wrong answer first.
The wrong answer is Raleigh Fingers.
That is correct. That's the wrong
The
answer.
next
That
wrong
is-
answer is Daryl Knowles.
No, that is the correct answer.
is
the correct answer.
Okay, good
Okay.
job.
Well,
That's
all
not
right.
bad. You know, we give you a mulligan on that one, and Vern and I were teasing you because apparently you went to all those games.
I did. I blew off school and went over, took part and went over to the Coliseum. There were 4 games there against the Mets.
And you still passed the bar exam.
I still passed the bar but failed high school.
Okay.
What was the crowd like back
The
then? I mean, what,
crowd, this is what was amazing. I bought a ticket on the day of the game
get out.
for $3.50, and I still have the stub. $4 for the bleachers for all 4 games, and I bought them the day of the games.
Wow.
I think
Off a
only-
scalper?
Buy the ticket.
Just
on
walk
this.
back?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh
Right
my
off.
God.
That is a World Series game.
And that was the second year, right? Because they went 72, 73, 74.
They were
So
Yeah.
at least they had
defending world
experience.
champions, and the
Yeah.
crowds were so weak that the whole draw for the whole year was about 980,000 people. Which
Not even a million draw.
Not a million.
Wow.
That's
But Charlie
embarrassing.
Finley was so cheap, and he didn't promote the team. And baseball at that time had not yet really peaked as it would later when the Red Sox and Reds went to the World Series in '75, and
Yeah.
the Yankees and
Mhm.
Dodgers
Right.
and Reggie Jackson.
Right.
But the early '70s were a pretty weak time for baseball, especially in Oakland.
Yeah, 75. I think that Boston Reds one.
Reggie was on that
That's
team.
the one
Reggie
Right.
was on the team.
Yeah.
He missed the World Series the previous year. He'd gotten injured in the last game of the playoffs, and he missed the whole World Series. But in '73, I think he and Campaneris were MVPs.
Wow.
Wow.
It was a seventh game.
Maybe,
And,
maybe Finley said that they didn't eat if they didn't win.
And what was the face value of the ticket that you got?
$4.
$4.
Well, in
Day of the
fact,
game. Things have really changed.
Wow.
Speaking of which,
yes, in fact, I was going to ask Mike this question here because he was talking to me beforehand about tickets to Fenway for the Tuesday night game.
well, is
Go
it
ahead.
Wednesday night or Tuesday? Tomorrow.
Tu- Well, no, because we record ahead of time. So, oops,
Oh,
this is
A little bit
Saturday.
of trivia there.
Yeah. Okay, so Tuesday night's game.
Tuesday night's game, a pair of tickets on StubHub just went for about $50,000, first row. And
Dang.
bleacher tickets are going for about $1,100, and general seating's going for about $1,800.
Well, they want to see a piece of history, man.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's
So how many are we in for?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've always wanted to go to a World Series
still catch
or
the
a
flight?
playoff. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Was Babe Ruth on that 1918 team?
U.S.
That one-
Star-
that-
Star pitcher, right?
Star
Yeah.
pitcher.
Who did they?
Did he win the Cy Young?
They
They
didn't
didn't
have
have back
They
then.
didn't have it. Yeah.
No.
Cy's still
He
around.
probably would
Yeah.
have won it one of those years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
He actually had the World Series record for consecutive scoreless innings pitched until Whitey Ford broke it in 1960. So that's how good he was.
Well, remember
As a pitcher.
Yeah, but you have 1918. The World Series has only been around 15 years.
Yeah.
So there could have been, too many great records.
Yeah,
back
'cause
then.
I
But
think
he
the
kept
Reds-
the record for another 45 or another 43 years.
Oh, that's true.
In other words,
That's
it
a good
wasn't
point.
broken.
That's a good point.
How about this for the rest of what they win? What 5 of the first 15, and then they go 0-4 until 2004.
Yeah,
with a little help from the juice.
Yeah.
This one's clean though, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Nobody does anything bad there. Okay, let's see here. We're gonna go on to our next subject here. Now this is kind of interesting. I read this in Sports Illustrated about Jerry Brown vetoing what would have given some victims who had been barred by the statute of limitations a 1-year window to sue. What this comes out about is because there was something like a 40-year-old victim had accused a former U.S. national team director of sex abuse in the 1980s when she was 14. And so basically what's going on here is she's 40 years old now. She wants to sue. Well, ordinarily there's a statute of limitations, and so he wants to give some of these victims, basically it's like a 1-year window to say, okay, well, ordinarily the statute of limitations would have been over, but we're going to give you 1 more year. So,
Wow.
Was there a case that this was the case that prompted that?
Yeah, there's a specific case there. So, I don't know. What do you think? Especially, interestingly enough, we have someone who has passed the bar exam. What do you think about from a legal standpoint? We're not asking you as an attorney, but just as your experience, to have these kind of situations.
Wading into the gray area here, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there are certain crimes for which there is no statute of limitations. I think murder is one, and everyone's favorite, tax evasion. I think.
Yeah, that's right. That is true.
There's no
That is true.
So
Yeah,
I think if it's a serious crime, there shouldn't be a statute of limitations. Actually, because if the evidence is there and exists, then why not use it? Usually, you have a statute of limitations because the evidence goes dry or something.
Sure.
But if the evidence is still there, then why not allow justice to run its course?
And you said serious crime, so I wonder what would be the definition of serious.
Oh, jaywalking.
Okay, there you go. It's caught on camera. Oh, listen, you know what? For those people who live in California, and specifically here in Marin County, don't walk across a red light. Even if you're in the crosswalk, but you're going against the red light.
Mm-hmm.
I got a timeout by a policeman who I'm now good friends with. And he didn't give me a ticket, but he warned me the ticket was almost $400.
For jaywalking?
Well, is that technically jaywalking? Or because I wasn't I was in the lines of where the pedestrians walk, but I went across during
You mean
a red
that little
light.
sign that's across the street that's got the little hand that says
Yes.
it?
Well, no.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was, it wasn't like it was blinking and I was just trying to beat it.
Right.
There was, I'm talking about a real, red,
Solid
yellow,
red. Yeah. Okay.
so that cars could be coming. In fact,
Right.
what happened was I was running across the street and this car was ready to make a right turn and basically stopped and kind of said, okay, it's okay for you to go. So even though technically I shouldn't have done what I did, this person, and I was holding him up, he allowed me to do it. But the policeman happened to be in back of me and said, hey, have a seat. Like, what are you talking about? I look back, it's a policeman, so I have a seat. And he starts giving me
2 seats.
I have 2 seats. Yeah, he gives me the riot act, so to speak, to let me know that, hey, do you realize that's a $400 ticket?
Wow.
I said, officer, that will never happen again. And in fact, not only do I wait, but when I see people ready to do it, I tell them. I said, you know what? You want to avoid a $400 ticket. Isn't that amazing?
Stay where you are.
Stay where you are.
Now I'm curious. Now that we have an attorney in the house, what if you had been hit by that car?
That's a good question.
Who's at fault?
It probably would be split up among contributory negligence on
Yeah.
the driver's part and your part.
Because if they
So-
see me and they still hit me, then there's probably they're going to still be at fault. You can't just I'm not
I got a
open season.
freebie.
Yeah, I'm not open season.
Hey, it's a video game.
That's why I stay on the yeah, exactly. Well, Pac-Man thing. That's why I stay exactly where I'm at. Okay,
That's good to know, man.
Yeah,
Edward doesn't have a lot of friends in this town.
I was unaware of that.
Yeah, I know, and Mike helped me out by giving me a T-shirt with all these little red circles around. I'm looking like a target. Thanks a lot. Okay, moving on here. Has anyone ever heard of Maya Moore?
Yes, one of the great female basketball players out there.
Holy smokes!
Yeah.
I gotta say, I don't really follow the.
Maya
WNBA.
Moore, man, she was a player of the year out of Econ. One of those Gio Auriemma just big time stars, and then just blossomed in the WNBA. I believe she's a star player on the WNBA championship team.
That is correct.
Yeah.
More than I knew.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's great.
She was named the 2013 Finals MVP after averaging 20 points. So she set this goal in her mind to shoot 90% free throws, 50% field goals, and 40% from beyond the arc. And it says here only two WNBAers more than 15 games have pulled off that trifecta, they called it. So guess what she did during the season? Instead of 90%, she had 88.2%. Instead of 50% from the field, she had 50.9%. And instead of 40% from the arc, 45.3%. I mean, she was like right on the money. I mean, that is pretty amazing.
Well, she's a dominant player.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's going to be the most decorated woman of all time.
Yeah.
And I remember they do use a smaller ball, and they do go from college arc, don't they? I'm sorry, you guys are looking at me like I'm a machismo.
No, just hey man, I'm just recognizing her game, man. I mean,
she's pretty. I gotta watch her. It says here, I'm looking at the photo of her. She plays with the Lynx.
Yes, the Minnesota Lynx.
Minnesota Lynx.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. It's pretty. She's only 6 foot. I thought that was pretty amazing. Okay, let's see here. We have.
So Edward, what brought that?
I don't know, just looking at Sports Illustrated, and I just thought it was kind of interesting that to set a goal of what she did and to come like right on the money. I mean, it's almost like she looked in 20/20 hindsight afterward and said, "Oh, by the way, this was my goal," but she didn't do that.
Look at Edward endearing himself to the female audience out there.
Listen, I got
recognizing the WNBA.
That's it. Hey, listen, if it's put.
How many talk show hosts do that?
Do you guys know who the first female basketball player ever drafted was?
Cheryl Swoops. Cheryl Miller.
I think it was Denise Long by the Warriors in 1969. And
it
was
really?
sort of there was no women's league at that time. But
That's true.
The owner of the Warriors, Franklin Bewley, was very eccentric, and he drafted her in about the 16th round. She had scored 120 points in a game in high school. Her name was Denise Long.
I did not know that.
I did not know that either. Holy smokes, that's interesting.
You guys got to keep up on this.
Yeah, 120 points. I don't think if they gave me the whole game to do layups, I could do that.
The strange things happen in Iowa.
There you go. Okay. All right, we're going to cut to our second commercial break. Again, the theme is World Series. Who set the record for stealing 7 bases in a World Series and then tied the record the following season in the World Series? First 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. Who set the record for stealing 7 bases in a World Series and then tied the record the following season in the World Series? 888-660-4495. I see Mike is, first he's shaking his head yes, now he's not too sure. Okay, don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back.
Is that Ricky, 8889?
Lou Brock.
Lou Brock.
67 and 68.
Got it. See, I told you the second one would be easier.
Yeah, but that's only, So, Lou Brock stole 7 against the Red Sox.
That was a good guess, though.
They came back against the Tigers, the next year?
Yeah.
And stole 7 more?
Yeah.
And in fact, were they talking about this season? Like, there was only 1 stolen base so far?
In the playoffs, World Series.
World Series, though.
The steals kind of,
Oh, we have to touch on David.
Well, American League teams don't play small ball, so they never steal anyway.
Yeah.
But St. Louis has always been a.
Do you guys know what the break even for stealing is? Like if you, what is the percentage you have to be successful as a general rule in order to justify
being known as he's a base stealer.
Well, or just to at least create more runs than you give up. Because when you're thrown out, you've added out to the team and lost the base runner.
Correct.
And when you steal, you gain 1 base, but you don't add a run.
89%.
No, it's something like 64.
That's all?
65.
That's not bad.
It's not. But you see these guys stealing 90 bases and getting thrown out 50 times. That's an exaggeration, but a lot of runners steal 15 bases and get thrown out 10. They have it home too. But again, that's just a general.
Because you wonder, had they not stolen, would they have scored anyway? Depends on the guy behind.
Because when you're thrown out, you're adding an out, of 27 outs.
Yeah. Good
and
point.
losing a runner who would have scored but isn't going to score now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. So it's kind of interesting.
Okay. Segments go fast.
Too fast.
Time flies when you're having fun, man.
That's it.
I got to go back to reality after this.
I know, sometimes you wish you could just kind of stay here. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn.
Hello, America.
Okay, and Mike Zalin. And when we cut to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Again, the theme is World Series. Who set the record for stealing 7 bases in a World Series and then tied the record the following season in the World Series? Now, Vern.
My guess was Ricky Henderson in '88 and '89, but I was wrong.
Yeah, which I think that's an
That
excellent
makes a lot of
guess.
sense.
Okay,
But the answer was Lou Brock, who
Correct.
did it in 1967 against the Red Sox, which went to 7 games, so he had seven games to do it. And then again the next year against the Tigers,
losing effort.
losing effort, 7 games, and he stole 7 again.
Not bad. Which one last thing about the World Series? David Ortiz is having kind of a good World Series. What do you think?
Yeah,
Over 750.
Well, at this taping, what, 11 for 15? That ain't bad, you know.
And he's been cranking it each time. I mean, but why did they pitch to him when they had an open base in Game 5?
Was the pitcher right-handed or left-handed?
Oh my gosh.
Who started the game in Game
Wayne,
5?
that was Wainwright.
I don't remember if he's right-handed or left-handed because that would account for because Ortiz is
left-handed,
left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
So probably if the pitcher was right-handed, he would walk him.
Yeah.
And then face a right-hand batter. Who followed Ortiz? I can't remember.
I think it was like David Ross.
But he's right-handed. I think.
Yeah.
So
he is
it
right.
could have been a platoon kind of thing. I would guess.
Okay. All right.
Turned out to be a mistake.
So we already talked
Logic
about.
can only take you so far.
Ball's got to be the size of a grapefruit.
Yeah,
to
that's-
Ortiz,
yeah,
though.
a cantaloupe for him.
Yeah.
And we already talked about Maya Moore, that she was a stud at. That was pretty awesome. Okay, now
Ask Stanford about Maya Moore. Couldn't stop her.
good stopper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Must have been unstoppable in
Mhm.
college.
Okay, changing to football for just a minute here. Clowney. First of all, how do you pronounce his name? Jadevon? Jadevon? Or just Mr. Clowney?
Javian Clowney.
Okay. So think about it if you're him for just a minute. He's too young to go into the NFL by their rules.
Mhm.
Even though he's quite studly himself. He's 6'6", 274, and can run faster than some wide receivers. That's a little scary.
But
Okay.
not having as good a year this season as he did last season.
Now, is that because they're double teaming?
Yeah, well, I
Of
mean,
course, that helps for the other players. Then.
last season, inside football, they know what he brings. But then then the national recognition became. I mean, they were talking about him before the season of him being the first player selected in this year's NFL draft. And then they had the first national game. I was expecting him to dominate. He had kind of okay. His conditioning wasn't all that great, so he kind of a lackluster game. And in South Carolina, they've lost a couple games.
So, well, here it is. It says the league does not allow anyone to enter its ranks until he is 3 years out of high school, no matter how qualified he may be. So, you'd expect her. It said here, you will be expected to deliver brave and relentless performances for your team in pursuit of a national championship. But what if you're injured? So you kind of look at it and say, okay, well, if he doesn't try hard, he's dogging it, and if he tries too hard and he gets hurt, he was stupid for doing it. He's in kind of a interesting situation there.
Reminds me of Marcus Dupree. Remember Marcus
Oh, yeah.
Dupree in the early 1980s? He got hurt, and after a dynamic freshman season, he got hurt, and then there were some questions about his transcripts and his eligibility. In any event, he was ineligible to play for Oklahoma, and he wanted to go to the NFL, but they said, no, you can't. The rules at the time did not allow underclassmen to go to the NFL, so he went to the USFL.
Probably
And
makes some
kind of
pretty
went
money.
that way to play pro. Yeah, he made money. He couldn't hang on to it. He made it
Oh,
though.
no.
Didn't hang on to it, and then he ripped up his knee, and then was out of football for a while, and then came back and played for the St. Louis Rams.
Well, this article from Sports Illustrated basically talked about. He says if you're injured in an effort, you'd be called a fool for risking your vast wealth and fame. So the question is, should you have sat out the year? How can a guy like that sit out a year? No.
Well, wasn't there?
Well,
a
his
recent
draft stock would plummet too. So
Wasn't there a recent article in Sports Illustrated about the inevitability of college athletes being paid.
Oh, it's going to happen. I mean, they're getting a per diem now,
Because
but
they're really risking the one money-making skill they have in life, or in many cases.
as soon as somebody figures out, okay, we're going to have X amount per player, whatever. I mean, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
You can't make much money as a communications major. I mean, a lot of those guys, no offense to them, but I mean, you got to think about
I'm ready to be replaced.
Well, I had a friend of mine who, I don't know if you guys know Greg Lober. He was a middle linebacker for Cal before going to the Saints. And he was actually in, the play, the Magic play. Like, but he wasn't in the play. He was actually on the sidelines because it was, special teams that were on there, right? So I talked to him about it, and I said, I'm thinking about this. He's going to Cal Berkeley. That's not an easy school. And then it's like 6 hours of football every day and studying. I mean, you have no life. And so, you got to think that guys like that, you really get impressed if they're taking, if they're going to become an accountant, attorney, a doctor, someone where there's a lot of studying to do. I mean, I just don't know how these guys do it.
It's a very regimented schedule being a college athlete. I mean, I see it every day. I mean, these guys, they're either practicing or they're in some sort of study hall type situation, or they're in class. I mean, that's your life. That's it. You got your room and board, everything's paid for, but your job is to go to practice. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay, here's kind of we are sports econ 101. So I want to get into a little economics here for a minute. So Michael Irvin used the S word.
The playmaker.
Yes, but he used the S word, scalping, when discussing the Chiefs-Browns game. All right, because it's not politically correct, right? So how much would it cost for teams to change their names?
If the Redskins dropped their name and became the whatever,
the Flowers, or something, and here's the funny thing is that to me, I don't know why Chiefs is bad. I understand Redskins seems to be a little bit non-PC, but I'm not sure why Chiefs is. Or Braves. I mean, that's more seems like a compliment.
Native Americans have been polled, and most of them say, "Hey, we're fine with the name. It's just it's these other PC. I've got to find a reason to complain.
Yeah.
People that are really just kind of just pounding the gavel about, oh, they've got to change the name. It's so offensive. But
can you imagine the cost though? Think about the jerseys, the logo. I mean, just everything that goes into all these names.
On the flip side, though, if you could start from scratch and name your team whatever you wanted, you probably wouldn't pick the name that you currently have.
True.
You might find a name that has much more marketing appeal today. Because when that name, the Redskins or Chiefs, was chosen, that was 50, 75 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The world was different. The marketing demographics were different. So maybe today they'd almost welcome the opportunity, and it would be well worth it to find a name that has more appeal in some way.
There's all the people who have their Redskins jerseys are now going to have to buy new flower jerseys or whatever they
call
themselves.
They'll make plenty of money putting those on eBay. They'll all be collectibles. Come on.
That's true. No, that's a good point. Okay, so last thing here. I don't know if this is the last thing, but let's go into this. Actually, you know what? We're on football. Let's stay on football. So the Rams asked Brett Favre to sign with them.
Let's don't get the facts in the way of a good story. They didn't ask him to sign. They did call him to see if he had any interest in coming down and just maybe even thinking about, getting into the rigors of.
Well, maybe what they really did was they called him to say, "Would you think about watching us on TV?" Right?
Well, Favre, he immediately said, "Hey, I'm flattered, but ain't no way I'm doing that."
Apparently, says his memory is going.
Yeah, it says his memory's going, and he's got a little bit of a limp. I mean, it's and think about a 44-year-old man coming back to play. I mean,
his doctors would.
Oh my God!
He had a terrible year his last year 3 years ago. It was terrible. So
and if he gets hit in the head again and doesn't get up, man! Oh my God!
Yeah, clearing him and all that. So where's Tim Tebow and all this? What do people have against?
I was doing Jacksonville radio the other day, and I asked him. I said, "Here's Jacksonville. Haven't won a game all year. I mean, it can't get any worse.
Yep.
Why not bring in Tim Tebow? I mean, what? What do you
Just
have?
for ratings.
What do you have to lose? I mean, it'd be a curiosity draw alone,
Yeah.
just to see what he could do. You know, these radio hosts were like, "Oh, it's ridiculous. Oh, never gonna go."
You know what it is? They're
They're
anti-Christian.
like, "Oh, what?
is
You know,
it
what if
is.
it doesn't work?" And I go, "But what if it does? What if it does?
What do you mean if it
How
doesn't
do
work?
you
How
know?"
much worse can they get than
Well,
0-8 or whatever
what
they
you're
are?
doing now isn't exactly working.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make an argument that the 32 team league is so flooded with or saturated with talents. You got guys that are maybe starting, maybe the number one backup, that really have no business being on the sidelines at all. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of quarterbacks out there out of work, and I just but in the case of Tebow, I mean, just the draw of playing in Jacksonville alone.
Maybe the Rams should trade for him.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's interesting you mentioned that because there was a little comment on this one article here. It says there aren't 32 quality quarterbacks in the NFL for the 32 franchises, and that's been obvious for years now.
Well, whoever said that is right. You know,
Okay.
but the league keeps expanding. They want to go 18 games. They want to play 8 regular season games in London now, as early as a couple years from now.
Yeah, all
And
sports are going international.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just I figure you just get more draw, you know, because like soccer came here, right? That was
Well,
pretty
hey,
popular.
there's no bigger financial cash cow in sports than
That's
the
true.
National Football League,
Oh, and it's
and
getting
they just keep printing money year after year. And if they can pack Wembley Stadium 8 times in a regular season with almost 90,000 people, they'll find a way to do it.
bigger.
Yeah.
Well, who
If they can tweak the scheduling, because the 2 teams that play in London automatically get a bye the next weekend. They get 10 days off.
Do you think they're going to try to get teams to open up in London at all?
Could happen. I mean, if they go 8 home game, 8, you know, the team would be, there would be one NFL team being the host team. I don't think the home stadiums would be excited about it. The Raiders are supposed to play there next year.
Or how many games?
One game.
Just one game.
I think football will.
I think it's Raiders Dolphins at Wembley next year.
I wonder if football will be the last sport to have a team, an American team overseas, year round for playing.
Oh, a year
Is
round.
that what you meant, Edward, or
Well, yeah, having
like having a franchise there?
well, yeah, it's like Toronto playing in the United States because of course that's not overseas. That's just part of MLB.
I would think they'll have a baseball team in Mexico City or in Europe before they have a football team or even a basketball team.
Yeah,
Maybe
I can see a baseball team like Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic or something like that. Okay, hey guys, we're going to cut to our third commercial break here. Again, the theme is the World Series. Okay, which 1997 Cleveland Indian closer could not get the final 2 outs, which would have given the Indians their first World Series crown in 49 years?
Who couldn't
Yes
close
or
it?
no? You know it?
Who
Yeah.
could not close it?
Who could not close it? Okay, I told you this one was a little easier. The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website.
And it wasn't Dennis Eckersley, who started out as starter with the Cleveland Indians.
Yes,
That's true.
and a
Then he went to
good
the
one,
Cubs,
too.
right?
A very good one.
Yeah, didn't he have a no-hitter
He
for
went
the
to the
Cubs?
He
Red
did.
Sox.
Yeah.
Did has
To
no
the Red
hitter.
Sox after the Indians, I think.
That's right. Okay.
Then the Cubs.
So call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. Which 1997 Cleveland Indian closer could not get the final 2 outs, which would have given the Indians their first World Series crown in 49 years? Make sure to include your name, your email address, speak slowly, spell out your email 1 letter at a time. Don't touch that dial because Sports Econ 101 will have some closing comments when we come back. Yeah, I couldn't stand the Braves. So I really rooted for Cleveland.
Well, I think it was Jose Mesa, but I'm not sure.
Okay, what other people do you know?
That tells me it probably isn't Jose Mesa.
Go with your gut, man. Edward likes to play poker face.
Okay, is this poker face?
Yeah, boy, that was against the Marlins when Renteria
Florida
got
Marlins.
single. One in the 10th inning, I think, because somebody had made an error for Cleveland, Vizquel maybe, or the second baseman had
Oh,
made an error.
97 was
97. It was
97 was oh that
was
Marlins
was it
and
Marlins?
Indians.
Renteria,
When was it Atlanta, Cleveland?
96.
Okay. It's curious.
Yeah, because Rob Dan was on that 97. Marlins team.
Oh, that was when he was
When
good.
he came to the
And
Giants.
Sheffield was,
Yep.
and then they blew the team apart the next year. They
Mhm.
sold everybody.
Yeah.
Dismantled.
That's the way to do it.
So relievers, I'm weak. A's Steelers. Yeah, so you could go to the A's World Series. You could just walk right up there, and it was empty.
I wonder what
only
it'd be now if
30,000
they made
people.
it.
Oh my God! Now
I mean,
just like try to go to a Giants regular season game, you have to pay
Yeah.
like $100. You had a lot of Giants games covering them, or quite a few
In my
through the years.
in my own time,
Well, professionally or
professionally a lot.
Okay, great.
Here's what I text. Soon as Gomes went deep, hit the 3-run homer. This was what I texted him.
Does he read it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Wow, that's good.
Well, I'm sure his phone just blew up.
Oh yeah. So you know him pretty well. Or you know
Yeah.
him, yeah, that's I love local players. Okay, so
Interesting. His older brother Joey, a year older, he growing up, he was the one that was the big star. He was the one that was penciled. Hey, that guy's going to make it to the bigs. And then for whatever reason, he plateaued. And then when Gomes was at Santa Rosa Junior College, somehow, he just got big, and he got quick hands. It just happened.
yeah, he's got a fast
And he got drafted in like the 16th round by the Tampa Bay
he
Rays.
was hitting 20-25 home runs a year with Tampa, right? Just a couple of years
Mhm.
ago.
Well, that's right. Then he went to the A's for just the 1 year, was it?
Well, he went to the Reds. He came to the A's for 1 year,
Yeah.
and then
He did pretty well for us.
He's moved
yeah,
around.
he did great.
Yeah.
But I believe Boston gave him 2 years.
You know, it's funny. Did you hear the interview
Yeah, really
afterward?
worked out.
I mean, after he hits the home run. Oh, sorry, you were gone. He hits the home run, and then afterward, they interview him,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost like he's on drugs or something. I couldn't understand him.
Well, that's how he is. He's like, well, he's never. I mean, he can get high, but more so than I, he's kind of like this. Yeah, he just kind of, hey, just talks like that.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, what are you saying?
Yeah. That's how he is.
Not going to be radio talk show host
Yeah.
material.
Not quite.
That's how he's wired.
Okay, here we go.
He's got that Hatfield and McCoy beard. I love it when they hit the home run. When they hit the home run and go to the dugout, they like pull the beard.
Yeah, oh god, that looks like it hurts.
Those beards, something else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
Yeah,
Next, I'm gonna get you a nice soft pillow for you.
Hey,
Just don't do the tomahawk chop, Edwards.
Hey, thank you.
Very
Yeah, just don't
sensitive
do
to
that.
that.
I'm very sensitive. Okay.
Trauma.
Okay, you guys ready? Okay. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn.
Don't hurt yourself.
And Mike Zalin. That's an inside joke. I told Vern, stop pounding on the desk.
hey, man, that's Radio 101. Pound the desk for emphasis. Hey, man.
Lawyers do it too. Come
Hey,
That's
any program director will tell you that.
I think that's why judges do it, right?
on. It's an outrage, Your Honor.
Yeah, exactly.
They come in. They get this is inside radio. They
My
come
client's
in.
the true victim here.
They come in. They go pound the desk, raise your voice. It's scream just because it's all about TSL, time spent listening.
Oh,
They
there you go.
want the maximum listeners in there because a lot of people are in the noise.
Intimidation, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, third trivia question for Mike Zadlin. Name the first 25 MVPs of the World Series in 1903.
Sure, you don't want 50.
Yeah.
I got plenty of time.
Is that all?
Okay, because he's a smart guy. Okay, which 1997 Cleveland Indian closer could not get the final 2 outs, which would have given the Indians their first World Series crown in 49 years? Michael Zadlin, what's the answer?
Oh, the end of the game wasn't that important. Let's talk about the start of the game. I think it was Jose Mesa, but I have a feeling that was wrong.
and you would be correct.
See?
Ding, 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 ding. Jose
There you
Mesa.
go.
Very good. Okay, guys, you know what? We're going to have to cut out here pretty soon. So let me give you some thoughts for the day. I was thinking, okay, so Johnny Bench said, I was thinking of making a comeback until I pulled a muscle vacuuming. I love that one.
That would change your thinking.
And that's a big Reds clubhouse too. So
Yeah, exactly. And Gordie Howe said, all hockey players are bilingual. They know English and profanity. I can imagine that one too. Okay, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. But by the way, I want to thank my co-hosts, Vern Glenn.
And by the way, while I have a few seconds, I do want to congratulate Brian Price, who's the new manager of the Cincinnati Reds from not far from where we're recording the show.
There you go.
Mill Valley, California, 1980 Tamalpais High School.
And we're going to try to get him on the show. I've got a call in to the Reds for that.
Let's get him in.
And Mike Zablin, thank you very much for joining us. Okay, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and giving away free vacations for answering sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
And